right now, speaking of drumathon and drummers and whatnot, we're going to welcome to the show Miss Kat here. She is a drummer, breast cancer survivor, roller derby chick, and a true rock star. What is up, Kat? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good. April, how are you?
Dude, I'm awesome. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here today, man. I'm really excited.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you because, you know, we've been in our new survivor group. It's a Survivors Rock, a breast cancer can stick it community. And we met through there. Actually, we met through the Drummer Girls United, and then I had you come on over to our new breast cancer survivor group too. But we haven't had like a chance to like really talk. You know what I'm saying? Like about what you went through and hear your whole story. So I'm anxious to get into that. But just for our viewers, there's a all-girl drum group out there called Drummer Girls United. And Kat actually posted, what was the post about again, Kat?
I had posted asking for if there were any drummers in the group who had mastectomies and that struggled occasionally with lymphedema, because I had some questions about some swelling and things that happened to my arms sometimes. So I'd reached out thinking maybe there was somebody there, and it led me to you, which was really cool because what are the chances?
I know, and we were just talking about that today. We were like, dude, it's like, you know, rare to be a female drummer, and then, you know, it's 1 in 8 that are breast cancer, that get breast cancer. I guess it's probably more common to have breast cancer than to be a drummer as a female. But, and so we were talking about the fact that in our group, we actually have 3 or 4 female drummers. I know myself and you, Lori Peters from Skillet is in there. We talked about Athena, who's Tommy Lee's sister, who also is a breast cancer survivor and a drummer. And so we know of at least 4 of us that exist. There's bound to be more. We should start like this little tiny group that's like drummer chicks who've had breast cancer or something, have some really long title or something like that.
Or just a really cool foundation, like, you know, breast cancer can stick it.
I mean, I know, right?
You're finding our people.
I know, exactly, dude, exactly. So I wanted to really get into like exactly what happened and how your breast cancer was found. Like, I want to hear from the very beginning. So tell us how it all started out.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm from Arizona, where in the summertime we spend quite a bit of time in the pool, out in the water and in the sun. And it's not uncommon for your skin to crack when you're out in the water. My heels crack often, and I just super glue them together. So when I discovered a crack in my nipple, I didn't really think anything of it. You know, out here in the States, we're trained to look for lumps in our breasts. And it just so happens that my best friend is Australian. And in Australia, the narrative there when they talk about breast cancer is to look for lumps, cracks, and color changes. So one day I was talking to her on the phone and I was like, yeah, it's really weird. I've had this crack in my nipple. And she heard that and right away was like, you need to go get yourself checked out, get to a doctor right away.
That's, you know, and in talking with Dr. O'Shaughnessy, who was just on there for our fact and fiction piece, I actually have a fact or fiction from her where she talks about changes, visible changes. And Randy right now, who's a drummer also, and is our one male breast cancer survivor in Survivors Rock, a breast cancer can stick it community group. His whole thing was he saw something visually with his nipple as well. So that was the indicator. But Dr. O'Shaughnessy talks a lot about that too, is you're right. Most people just hear, oh, if you see a lump, if you see a lump, if you see a lump. They don't ever hear the part of if there's a visual change, you need to get that checked out too. And Kat, real quick, I just want to tell you that Jennifer is a breast cancer survivor. She says hello and she's giving you a big shout out. So is Randy, and he's calling you a badass. And then Melissa, she says, tell her I love her and hi from Melissa. So she's here. And Mary is saying hello. Thanks for coming on as well. So from that point, did you have a mammogram or did you have a biopsy, or how'd they actually determine that it was breast cancer?
Yeah, so I went to my primary care physician, who honestly wasn't entirely sure what she was dealing with, and even brought in her intern at the time, and they both, you know, take a look around, prodding around, and she said that she really wasn't sure, but she, as a matter of caution, to go ahead and go get a mammogram, which I was 39 at the time. I was, too young to get my first mammogram. So she decided to do that and just to get more information, and they identified it right away in imaging. It was pretty wild because I had taken a lunch break to go get a mammogram, not thinking anything, not thinking it would be any big deal, and found out I had cancer on my lunch break.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah, I didn't go back
I
to
mean,
work.
I bet not. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but when I was diagnosed, I was 41, so I was kind of in the same position.
Young,
The
yeah.
only difference was I had fibrocystic breast, and so I was going for ultrasounds every 6 months, just a precautionary thing, just to keep an eye on all the lumps I was getting and make sure if any cancer showed up that they caught it early. So that's really lucky that you had that friend, because I wonder if you may never would have thought of that, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, I had the crack for a while and had spoken to several other girlfriends about it, and nobody, everybody kind of was like, well, that's weird. And she just happened to be that one friend that heard it, and because of how they talk about it there right away, identified it as something that needed to be checked out right away. So she's possibly saved my life.
I mean, it sounds like she may have. At that point, did they know what stage it was, or was that later where they figured that out?
It wasn't until later, I had to go get a biopsy. They can't really identify what the cancer is until you have a biopsy. They can't name it. So it wasn't until a little bit later that I found out it was when it was staged, it was stage 3, grade 3. So
Wow,
it was quite large, and it had spread beyond the original site.
wow. So how long before your friend suggested you have it checked out had you had this problem?
I really can't remember, but I want to say at least a month, maybe even more.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was the summertime. I was in the pool, and I was used to my skin cracking. It happens in the pool in Arizona.
Yeah, it's
so.
pretty dry out there.
Yeah.
Unlike Texas. It's like, I'm sweating right now, man. I'm inside, the air conditioning on, and the air is just thick here. Well, wow, that's really lucky. So what did you do as far as treatment, or take us from that point on?
So once it was identified, I got in with a really wonderful team of people. I had a friend that was kind of in that community and could sort of help guide me, and got me connected with a great team of doctors and oncologists and all kind of people. So the course of my treatment was I had 6 rounds of chemo. I was on 4 different drugs at the time, 4 different chemo drugs, which was an education because I didn't really understand that chemo was different for everyone. So that was an experience. So I did 6 rounds of chemo and followed that by a double mastectomy, and followed that with 6 weeks of radiation Monday through Friday.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
lot. That's so scary.
It was quite a year. Yeah.
I still hung up on the fact that it was stage 3, grade 3. And for those people watching, the staging is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 is like the worst one. One you're caught it pretty early. But grade 3 is also bad too. That usually means that it's faster growing. And so I was actually grade 3 with mine as well. Do you recall what type of breast cancer it was? Like if it was HER2 positive, ER positive?
You know what? I always get all of them mixed up, and thanks to chemo brain, I'm permanently kind of a scrambled egg.
Yeah, I feel you.
But it was not it was not estrogen positive. I know that.
Gotcha.
So
So after all that, did you do reconstruction?
I did, yeah. So in between, so after the mastectomy, they put in the expanders, and then they have to do the radiation with the expanders in, because that tightens the skin. So I had the expanders in while I did radiation, and then after that went in for full reconstruction.
Wow. So how long ago was it now that you were diagnosed?
So it was 3 years ago this month that I was diagnosed, actually.
Wow. And are you finished with all your surgeries and everything?
Yep. Well, I might go in. I had planned to do one more corrective surgery from the reconstruction, just because radiated skin stays tight and non-radiated skin tends to loosen. So I was going to go in and have one more surgery done to attempt to sort that out just a little bit. But then the COVID apocalypse happened, and I just decided not to.
That's so funny. I had this video I did like a while back, like back in March, and it was titled COVID Apocalypse. So it's really funny that like I ran across it today, in fact. Wow. Okay, so with your Reconstruction and everything's cruising along with that, I've heard I didn't have Reconstruction, but as I understand it, do you have to go back periodically for updates to your Reconstruction?
Yeah, and this is something I really wish more people would discuss when they talk about, getting breast reconstruction, that having breast reconstruction is so very different than having breast augmentation surgery. And you do frequently, as when you've had a complete reconstruction, there's no original breast tissue there. So that very much changes, the entire structure of the breast. And then when you're dealing with radiation on top of it, like I said, the one side that was radiated tends to have tighter, stiffer skin, and whereas regular skin has it's elastic, and so that will change over time. So it is potentially something that could be requiring surgery for the rest of your life if that was what you felt you needed.
Yeah, I'm in, like you, I'm in a lot of breast cancer groups, mastectomy groups. I'm in a flatty group. I'm in a lot of different breast cancer related group, a triple negative breast cancer group. And I've seen a lot of people in the reconstruction groups talking about that they have to go back every 3 or 4 years and to have their breasts updated. And that's something, like you said, it's not, there's a lot of aspects of breast cancer and reconstruction that people don't talk about. And that's one of them, is you don't realize that. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty wild.
That's hard. So how are you doing now? Where are you at now?
So as of now, I am good. I've had several clean visits. I go back every 6 months and follow up with my oncologist, make sure that there's no warning signs. And so far I have not presented any. So for all intents and purposes, I am cancer-free. Yay!
Raise a roof. Yeah. That's
So,
a good time to tell you that a lot of people are giving you shout outs right now in our chat room over here. Mandy is saying that she's so glad that you went and got checked out. Jennifer is also a breast cancer survivor. She's in our group, Survivors Rock, a breast cancer kids ticket community. We've got a link for that. I think it might be in the group there somewhere, if you know anybody who's a breast cancer survivor that might want to join. But Jennifer says, yeah, the chemo brain struggle is real. And Bill wants to tell you, Kat, you are a beautiful badass, one hell of a drummer, and you rock my world. So you got a big fan right there for sure. For sure. Yeah. He's sending you some love, man. And when I heard about you and we met, and we were like, okay, we're kindred spirits, we're breast cancer survivors, and we're drummers. But then you also mentioned that you're this roller derby rock star, which was crazy because recently, like in the last year, a friend of mine who I've known for 20 or so years was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's also a roller derby chick. And I can't think that could be that common either, where you got roller derby chick, breast cancer survivor, and you guys. And so I introduced you guys as well. So how's that affected your roller derby life? I mean, that's a pretty hardcore sport right there.
Yeah, it very much is. I think it would be the other way around, to be honest. I had played roller derby for several years, and I broke my leg playing roller derby. And after a while, I decided that I probably needed to find a safer hobby. So that's actually what led me to drumming. I stopped playing roller derby competitively when I started drumming seriously and joined a band and that kind of thing. But I would say that roller derby affected my survival, certainly because of the mentality. With roller derby girls, one of the things that they teach you in sort of your basic training in roller derby is that you can do anything for 2 minutes. And so when it comes to some of the more awful things that you have to endure going through cancer, that mentality of you can do anything for 2 minutes certainly helped get me through it.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never heard that before. I don't know a lot about the roller derby community. I mean, I've seen that movie, whatever it was called, Whip It or something. Was that it? That's as
Whip it.
close.
Everybody's seen Whip
Well,
It.
other than having two friends that also play roller derby, which consequently, there were two totally different friends. Amy was one of them, the one who I introduced you to who had breast cancer. Then I had another friend who's actually a volunteer for Breast Cancer Kids Ticket, who I'm friends with, and they both were doing roller derby. And then I realized they were doing roller derby together. And I was like, whoa, it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on right there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For sure.
and I just also feel that not only that mentality, but also that just brute physical strength that it takes to do that kind of stuff, and just sort of toughening you up in many different ways, being roller derby and then doing going through breast cancer, having that whole just tough girl thing happening, that had to be helpful for sure. So
Yeah, definitely.
so then you switch to drumming, which in my opinion is also a sport. People don't think of it like that, but my God, I haven't, played nearly as much in the last 4 months, and I'm seeing this little whatever happened. I'm like, come on, man, that's not cool. I need to like just go pretend gig every Friday and Saturday night from now on. But are you playing out right now? Like, are you playing with a band? And tell us some about your band.
Yeah, so the band that I'm in now is called Clam Slam, and it's a feminist punk band. It's original music. Myself and another girl, her name is Megan. She and I kind of co-write the songs. Bill was our bassist when we got it off the ground. So we are right now we're not playing because of the scare and everything being shut down, and it's really just not smart, not wise to do that. So we've been taking a little bit of a break. We've tried to do some recording and use our time wisely, but we're not out doing shows right now, but hope to as soon as this is over.
Yeah, right. Are you guys like an all original band? Is it a cover?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all original.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
do you have albums available that people could purchase? I mean, plug it up, man.
Well, we are working on it. So we are on Facebook. It's a Clam Slam Phoenix on Facebook, and you can follow us there. And we are in the process of getting our first EP together. So hopefully we'll have that out by the end of the year.
Wow, that's really cool, man. You're like, when I was making the post to tell everybody who was going to be on tonight, and I'm just writing it all out, I wrote that you were a rock drummer, that you're a roller derby chick, breast cancer survivor. But there's another thing that you told me today that I was like, my God, like it's like my mind's blown, because you have so many cool characteristics that make you very unique. I mean, I guess everybody's unique, but all these different things, and you're a teacher, right?
Yeah, I'm a special education teacher. I work at the high school level, and I work with severely cognitively impaired groups.
Wow. How long have you been doing that for?
I've been a teacher for 20 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
So yeah, I've done worked with a lot of different groups throughout my career, and worked at the district level for a while, and have gone back to the classroom, and I work with the most amazing kids on the planet.
Well, and I bet when you walk in the door, they're like, "Oh my God, my teacher rocks, dude!" Check her out.
They're a lot of fun.
That's so
They
cool.
definitely dig the drumming thing. It's cool. And I actually have been able to be a part of a group called United Sound, which is an organization that pairs up, typically developing students with special needs kids through music, and helps them become mentors and work together and able to learn and perform together, which is a very cool.
That is so cool.
Experience.
That is super cool. I want to be sure and note that Mandy Jackson, she's also a chick drummer. I think she's probably part of our Drummer Girls United group that you and I are in. So Mandy, Kat, and I are all chick drummers, and Mandy says that we are inspirations and sending us much love. We love you too, Mandy.
Love you.
Yeah, Randy says, Randy, our male breast cancer survivor in the house, says sometimes drums are a full contact sport.
He's right. Anybody that's ever, racked their knuckles.
I know, dude. Oh my gosh, yes, totally. Yeah, and Melissa says she looks forward to meeting you one day, that she hopes to go to Arizona once she's out of critical care. She's been in the hospital for some time, Melissa, so we've been sending her some love. So yeah, Mandy says we're sweet for sending her some love back. So one thing I wanted to ask you, and I try to ask everybody this, is when you went through breast cancer, it's a horrible thing to go through. It's no fun. And, when I went through it, the one thing that I pulled from it was starting Breast Cancer Can Sicken. and putting my passion for drumming and my passion for fighting breast cancer together into one, for the better of the community, and try to help women out there and people out there and men out there get through this. Can you tell everybody something that you found when you went through breast cancer that ended up being like an actual positive as a result from breast cancer?
Yeah, I actually think that I came out of breast cancer a better person, truthfully. There were a lot of horrific things that happened, but in the end, I think breast cancer really taught me how to pay attention to the things in life that are important. Let other things, that are the noise that isn't as important sort of fade to the background. And I think it really taught me sort of the power of a positive attitude. And I tell people this because we all go through horrific things, whether it's breast cancer or something else. We all have, things that we struggle with in life. And I think really the difference between being a victim and being a survivor is your attitude. You get to choose how you look at that experience in the end. So I tell people I'm very much a breast cancer. I'm not a victim, and I'll never be a victim.
Man, that's deep. I love that. And it's true. It's it just gives you a whole new perspective, on everything. Like every aspect of your life, you have a whole new perspective on. Like I value my relationships a lot more. I value every day so much more. Because you never know when's gonna be your last. When you're faced with something like that, I'm sure, like me, you probably, when you got that news about having breast cancer, your first thought was, I'm going to die. And as soon as that happens to you, it just changes your brain, like almost instantly. So you have a whole new perspective that I agree with you. It does make you a better person, which is so weird to say. It's like, yeah,
it is weird.
yeah, man, going through breast cancer was a good thing, man. It's confusing.
I mean, no one wants to join that team. No one wants to be recruited for that.
That's right. Yeah.
I have met some wonderful people and been able to be exposed to just some amazing groups. And thank you for starting Breast Cancer Can Stick It.
Oh yeah, man.
What an awesome organization.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you'll be a part of Drumathon this year. I know it's different from previous years, but the way it's going to work is the top 25 fundraisers will be able to submit a 1-minute drum solo that will play on the broadcast. And the top 3 fundraisers will come out and be interviewed just like this on the show. But we're also going to have celebrities and things on the show as well. So it's going to be really cool. It's drumathon.org. We'd love to have you be a part of it. And I love hanging out with you on our Survivors Rock, a Breast Cancer Can Stick It community Facebook group, as well as the Drummer Girls United, which is super cool as well. Just a nice way to hang out with people. I'm just going to see if I missed anything in the comments here. Melissa has said numerous times that she wants a drumstick from you. So
from me? Absolutely.
So I'll have to have her somehow get in touch with you. But yeah, Melissa, maybe you can find Kat out there on the interwebs. Do you have a website or somewhere she can reach out other than your Clam Slam, or is that the best place to find you?
That's probably the best place to find me, or in our other groups that we're in. She can find me in there too. So
Clam Slam on Facebook. You guys have a Facebook page, and
Clam Slam Phoenix.
Clam Slam Phoenix. Well, that's a mouthful. I'll get that wrong. Clam Slam Phoenix. Got it. Did you ever see the movie? I have to ask you because they were called the Clam Dandies, I think. It was a movie called Pray for Rock and Roll.
No,
dude,
what is that about?
Don't ask me. Probably shouldn't talk about it here. It's a little bit edgy,
okay.
But I'm telling you, great movie.
I'm gonna go look it up.
Yes, it's a great movie. I forget the main character's name, like her in real life. I forget which actress it was, but she's awesome. One of my favorite actresses. So yeah, check out Pray for Rock and Roll. The band name in that is the Clam Dandies, so it makes me think of you guys. All right, man. You have any last things you want to throw out there to our viewers as just a goodbye out here to everybody, and anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just wanted to say thanks so much for starting these groups and for having me, and I can't wait to check out the Drumathon this year and learn more about that. I'm going to go, even if I don't participate, I know there's some awesome drummers that I can support them and their pages.
Please,
so
yeah, man.
I will definitely be looking into that.
That's awesome, man. Thanks, Kat, so much. I'm so glad we got a chance to hang out and talk, man. You rock, truly, and I'll be watching out for you on our groups, okay?
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's good talking to you.
Take care, Kat. See you later.
Bye.
All right, you guys, give it up for Kat, man. She rocked, dude.